A film critic is someone who watches films and writes reviews of films regularly. If I'm feeling that there's a gap between the big screen and the people who are watching them, I try to bridge that. And how many people are watching my reviews? 100,000, 200,000 maximum. तुम decide करो तुम्हें देखनी है नहीं देखनी, तुम्हारे पैसे हैं, मेरे को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, तुम जाके देखो, खर्च करो, I don't care. 1 लाख रुपए महीने का पहुंचने के लिए भी टाइम लगता है यार. फिल्म राइटिंग में और फिल्म क्रिटिसिज्म में पैसे बहुत कम है.
Yeah, fair enough.
You don't have to take my word for it. Decide for yourself. Please go watch the film, decide for yourself, and then we can have a conversation about it. Come back in my comments. Work on developing your own voice. You know, I know it's very like, find your voice. You know, I don't know what that means, find your voice.
Yeah.
I started my channel in 2020 in the pandemic, as so many people, because there was nothing to do. But I've been running this for over 4 years now, and the biggest payout I've ever received from the channel happened this year in June. And I'll tell you which one that was also. That was
If you were to become a film critic in India today, what does that journey of 0 to 1 look like? Could you help define what a film critic does?
So, thank you for having me. A film critic is someone who watches cinema regularly, technically, right? The technical definition of it. You have to be somebody who watches films and writes reviews of films regularly. If you write once in 6 months or a year, then you're more of like a columnist, not really a critic, debatable. But a critic ideally would publish either every week or like in a regular fashion.
Yeah.
But for me, what I attempt to do is sort of feel like if I'm feeling that there's a gap between the big screen and the people who are watching them, I try to bridge that. As you grow and evolve as a person, your film criticism also changes.
Right.
So the way I was watching cinema when I was 26 or 27 is not the same anymore. I started doing it about 10 years ago regularly, professionally. I view the world in a different way right now. So my film criticism evolves. So a film critic also evolves with their lives, how their personal lives are changing, how the world is changing, how cinema is changing, how AI is evolving, how CGI has changed, how stories are evolving, all of that stuff. So really, it's just somebody who's just very aware of things, and you don't necessarily have to be like vocal about like my politics and my this and that. Good for you if you are, but just be aware, and that feeds into good criticism, good writing. Also, you need to have a knowledge of cinema history, which is very important. You
Absolutely.
Need to know.
What would be the first thing that I do in the journey of becoming a film critic?
Work on your writing.
Work on your writing, okay.
Practice writing. Because we live in a world where video is pretty much everything. Now it's giving way to AI-generated video.
Yeah.
But even to produce a film review for video, which is what I do, first comes the writing.
Right.
And my writing has evolved over the years quite drastically. But even when I am writing, I'm writing for video, which is a form of writing, right? When you're writing a script for a podcast, when you're writing a show flow for a podcast, that's a specific form of writing. Yeah. So what I do is I also write for video. It's a specific form of it because when I'm writing, I might edit in my mind. Like, यहाँ पे cut लगेगा, यहाँ पे zoom लगेगा and all that stuff, right? But you don't have to be a video film critic necessarily. Work on your writing.
Understood.
Whatever medium you are on, written, radio, video, just voiceover with B-rolls, not video but sort of video. Likho. And if you are wondering, if you're at that stage in your life thinking कि मैं क्या course कर सकती हूँ, what can I learn and what can I do, you can do a writing course, right? It doesn't have to be a short, like if you have a background in writing in your bachelor's, you've taken a course in writing, or if you're doing a workshop, you're taking in writing, and that will inform you about your own shortcomings and your own strengths. What kind of writing am I good at? What kind of writing I need to work upon? Just practice over and over, over and over. My background is in radio, so what I used to do is I used to practice voiceovers over and over before I even started doing anything professionally, because I was like a weird kid. But I was always recording myself on my little tape recorder. You know, when tapes used to be the thing, it was all freaking analog. मतलब इतना तुझे तो बच्चे तेरे को तो देखा भी नहीं होगा. But a double-decker tape recorder होता था, जिसमें 2 tapes लगती थी सामने. You could record only on one side. You could press the record button. So I used to buy blank tapes. I used to go like for 10, 15 rupees and record my voice and then play it back for my family. And my family was like, oh, not again. But I used to do that because I just really liked listening to myself and then doing it again.
Right.
Because I wanted to be in radio. That was my thing. Because, when radio came into the country for the first time in early 2000s.
Yeah, which was actually a question that I had, which was how did the radio part of your life, where you were doing that for a significant period of time, how did that influence, or did it influence the journey of being a film critic?
100%. When I started doing video reviews, my quote-unquote proficiency to stand in front of a camera and talk came from my radio training, because radio is live, bro. We were live on the air. There's no room for error.
Yeah.
When you're new and young, they will give you the option of pre-recording a little bit and then playing it on the air, because you're young and even the radio station doesn't want that liability. What if they say the F word or something bad?
Right.
So you get something that is known as deferred live. You can record it and then play it afterward.
Right.
But for the most part, because you're generating a 3-hour show every day, it's live. There's no time to pre-record all the time.
Yeah.
And that was a training I had for 10 years. Like, imagine doing that for 10 years.
Right.
It's incredible. That sort of like grounding, that sort of practice.
Right.
And that informed my video approach as well. So in my initial videos, I'm very like radio sound, because that's what I did. And for many years while I was doing video, I was also doing radio.
Right.
Simultaneously, both those things are happening. 100%. And radio teaches you other things also. You know how to do video, audio edits on your basic softwares. I've even forgotten the name of the softwares you used to use. But I liked doing edits. I liked putting sounds together. I liked putting SFX and things like that. I loved doing voiceovers. Wo thoda kar karke. When it comes to standing in front of a camera, when you're also standing in front of a camera and doing something, you're also thinking of how this is going to get edited, right? You have a vision in your head. Radio gives you that. So my training in radio taught me how to do that, like short, concise, sharp, to the point. Edit. Make
Beautiful.
So
epic. In the context of today, if a young person is to get their first ever paycheck in the world of being a film critic, what could that look like and how much would that be?
I wish there was a standard answer for all of this. It varies because the industry is not very structured per se. Most places will pay you per piece.
Right.
So you'll get paid per review, whatever you're writing. Some places will pay you per word, your costs per word. Now, your costs per word vary from country to country. Here, it is some people will charge you 10 rupees per word, or 15 rupees per word, or 20 rupees per word. The more senior you are, the more money you can charge. In the United States, people will charge you $1 per word also, which is 84 rupees per word.
And how many words are you typically expected to write?
That's on the publication. The publication can tell you, we need a 500-word review, or we need a 1,000-word review, we need a 2,000-word piece. So it depends on what the publication is looking for. If they're looking for a quick, short thing, or if they're looking for a detailed, analytical, where they'll give you 4 days or 5 days to be like, this is not a review, it's a post-mortem sort of thing. Like, you have the whole week to write about this movie.
I see.
Go ahead and do it. We need 2,000 words.
Right. If you're being paid per word, in the Indian context, could you give me an example of, like, say from a publication standpoint, how much could you get paid in today's day and age? And if you are doing this as a freelancer, how much could you get paid?
Depending on publication to publication and your level of experience also, I know people who are making as less as 5,000 rupees per piece. I know people who are making 30,000 rupees per piece.
Right.
I know people who are making more than that. In the middle of that, it's very variable depending on who you are. Also, what the practices of your publication are. Publications sometimes don't pay on time. They'll make you chase for 2 months and 3 months for like very, very small amount. वो 5,000, 10,000 जुड़ के 1 lakh भी हो गए और उसी को लोग chase करे जा रहे हैं. I know those stories as well. It's extremely variable and it's very like कुछ भी हो रहा है.
I understand. So which means that you could probably look at like starting out at like 5,000 rupees, but it can go as wide as
30, 50, 60, 70, depending on how good you are at what you do. Depending on how much your publication values you. And if you're writing for an international publication, it'll be more.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you were to recommend a bunch of books that you think someone should read before they start thinking about becoming a film critic, what would those books be, if there are any?
Don't put me on the spot like that, man. I don't know any books off the top of my head. it's more important than reading books about film criticism is just reading books in general.
Reading books in general, got it.
Because the more you read, the better writer you become.
Right.
And the more you get to know about the world, yeah. When we were coming up, it was only books. There was no internet, no?
Yeah.
By we, I mean only me, not you. There was no internet. Read as many books as you can, yeah.
And are there any other critics whose work you follow maybe on Instagram or on other platforms that you think are great recommendations for people to consume content?
There are many film critics in India that I read. Rahul Desai is one I read all the time. I read Ishita Sen Gupta all the time. Anupama Chopra is now back on the Hollywood Reporter. I watch her videos. Internationally, my friend Siddhant Adlakha, who lives in New York City but writes for various publications, Variety, IGN, Time Magazine, lots of places. Find publications that you trust, and then gradually you'll find film critics who you like and trust and learn from.
Right. But are there any that really stand out in terms of places where people can consume this so that they're better informed about the kind of writing that publications are expecting today?
Find publications that you trust as publications.
Right.
So if you trust the Indian Express, read the Indian Express reviews. If you trust News Laundry, read reviews on News Laundry. Or if you trust Hindustan Times, that's on you.
Right.
But then there are publications that are dedicated to cinema. The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Film Companion, erstwhile Film Companion, dedicated to cinema. So you know that they've put together a team of people who know what they're talking about, who are niche experts on cinema. Could be any language.
Right.
Vulture and lots of places. Roger Ebert, there's a website in his name.
Yeah.
All these places, yeah. But it's
fantastic. I've gotten my first paycheck. Some people are willing to trust my word for it.
Yeah.
I started to build this. Where do I go from here? And what do I do next to go from like 0.5 to maybe a little bit ahead in this journey as a professional?
Stay regular.
Yeah.
Then don't stop pitching. You have to develop relationships with editors at various publications. It's very, very important. If you want to write about the best of Sanjay Leela Bhansali, or you want to write about the best of Zoya Akhtar, or you want to write about a specific thing that you've observed in Zoya Akhtar's storytelling that you want to explore upon, like how she approaches class dynamic and all of that stuff, then write that small little pitch. And so keep it open. So whichever publication you've written for, keep that relationship and that dialogue open with the editors, with senior journalists at the publication. It's very, 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 very important.
Got it.
And then also just, know yourself very well. Like, ask yourself, what is it that I want to do?
Yeah.
I wanted to continue to do video. I really like the medium. I enjoy the medium. I think I'm very good at it. And I think I have an understanding of how social media functions.
Yeah.
So that's what I went toward. My next step was I taught myself Adobe Premiere Pro to be able to edit my own video if I needed to. And I realized that I really enjoy the process. It goes back to my radio training to be able to cut sounds and put them together. Video is the next level of doing that, to be able to cut video and put it together. And my early attempts were bad, but now I think I'm fairly good at editing my videos. So do that. Then I taught myself how to operate like a basic DSLR camera. Then I put together my own studio at home, all my equipment. I've done my research, what equipment I want. I've taught myself how to use that equipment. When I go to film festivals, I only go by myself and I take my own equipment and I use my own equipment and I shoot by myself. Technical things like that, transferring, downloading, all that. It's a lot.
If I was to better my skill of my intellectual analysis, my nuance of understanding film, how do I actually tangibly do that? How do I make it better? What will improve my eye on watching something? And how do I do that over a period of time?
Reading reviews is a good practice of people that you like. Like for instance, चलो आपने किताब के बारे में पूछा था. Pauline Kael की किताब है, बड़ी बेहतरीन फिल्म क्रिटिक थी वो अपने ज़माने की. उनकी एक किताब है I Lost It at the Movies. There are many books of hers, but this is probably one of the more famous ones where it's a compilation of her old reviews.
Right.
So it's a fat book of just her reviews. So that's a good practice to sort of see. Also, like, whichever language you're writing in, English, Hindi, Telugu, Malayalam, Punjabi, whatever, proficiency, teach yourself how to play with language also, a little bit. Roger Ebert had said that you are writing a review, but a piece of writing a review, it is also entertainment. Like your audience also has to be engaged with what you're writing, you're not... Yeah. And I'm paraphrasing at this point, sorry Roger Ebert, but you are also not talking down at people all the time.
Yeah, right.
Make it entertaining for people, make it engaging for people, and that comes with a good turn of phrase in your writing. That comes with like knowing when to write a short sentence, when to write a longer sentence, when to add a metaphor in and when to add a joke in, when to get serious and somber, when to add context about something else. So practice doing that. Read, just for instance, one of the books that really inspired my style is Douglas Adams's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Right? It's a comedy book. It's a book about an alien who comes to Earth, and then the alien and their best friend, his best friend, a human, travel through the galaxy. The Earth gets destroyed, so they get sucked up into a spaceship, and they travel through the galaxy. There's been a movie on it also, starring Martin Freeman and Zafford, Beeble, Brooks, whatever.
Yeah.
Point is that book informed my style of like talking and like, interacting with people. So find things that inform something in you and develop your work on developing your own voice. I know it's very like, find your voice. I don't know what that means, find your voice.
Yeah.
But I mean, find your voice.
Yeah. Where do I go to get my first gig? Where do I go to get my first job? Do I walk into a publication? Do I walk into the reception? What do I need to do to get my first job?
This is where we get stuck. Right. Because film critic jobs are very few and far between, especially if you're looking for a staff job. So to get started, start your own writing page. Anybody can do that now. Go
make a blog.
Like Medium. Just start your own page, work on your writing, and when you feel like you have 6 or 7 good pieces of writing that you're proud of, that you've really worked on, and that you've refined, and you're feeling confident about them, you can cold pitch to editors.
Got it.
And most editors have their emails publicly available on publications, on websites, and even if they don't have their specific emails, and publications usually will have a spot on their website that will say, write to us.
Right.
I know people who are straight up cold pitching and getting those jobs.
Right. So what is the business model around film critics making money off of a film review coming out?
For me, nobody. Nobody's paying me. I'm paying myself.
Epic.
Yes, nobody's paying me. So, because I just really like doing what I do.
Right.
And I have a very deep passion. So passionate person. So passionate. Passion is oozing out of my body. So I am self-funded.
Right.
I just do my own thing. YouTube gives you money on, view count or whatever.
Yeah.
And that money sort of enables me to sustain the channel.
Right.
Because I have a video editor and I have a producer and they have salaries that need to be paid.
Right.
Those salaries come for the most part from the video views that the YouTube channel is generating, but not always.
Right.
A lot of times I pay out of pocket as well. That's my budget. That's the investment I make, and I'm happy to make that investment as well.
Understood.
But if you're a video journalist for a platform, the platform is paying you.
Yeah.
The publication is paying you for per video. Now again, it's not like a written piece you get 10 rupees per word or 15 rupees per word or $1 per word. It's not like you get paid per minute or anything, at least not that I have heard of happening anywhere. Maybe it's happening, I'm not sure. But you still will get paid per review. So my attempt when I'm writing a review is never to tell people to go and watch a film or don't go watch this film.
Right.
It's always watch the film, decide for yourself, use your brain. My attempt with my writing is always to encourage people to think more analytically about it. What I say about a big blockbuster Diwali release is not actively going to change anything for the big blockbuster Diwali release. Yeah, how many people are watching my reviews? 100,000, 200,000 maximum, right? Maximum. It's not those days when our reviews used to go viral 10 years ago. It was trending on YouTube. That doesn't happen anymore, right? On a good sare platform se mila muluke, my best case scenario is 100,000 views. And those are not all active viewers also who are 1 lakh people deciding I will buy a ticket or don't buy a ticket basis this review.
Yeah.
So in the larger scheme of things, my reviews, I am very aware, are not impacting, nor do I aim for them to impact the ticket sales for a film.
Right.
My reviews are for people to understand what they are watching better keeping in mind that this is coming from my point of view. Yeah. So this is not news. It's an opinion piece. I am presenting myself in the opinion piece. So understand who I am also, why I am saying the words that I'm saying. And you don't have to take my word for it. It's a free service I'm providing you, yaar.
Yeah, fair enough.
You don't have to take my word for it. Decide for yourself. Please go watch the film. Decide for yourself. And then we can have a conversation about it. Come back in my comments. Say what you want to say about the film.
Yeah.
So my attempt, and some other film critics will tell you this also, that it is not to tell somebody to go watch a film or not go watch a film.
Right. So do you think that there are very specific, according to you, do's and don'ts when you are critiquing a film? Like, what would be like 3 do's and 3 don'ts when a young person is trying to critique a film?
Make sure that your writing on the film is engaging. And I keep saying writing even though I am on video because it's writing. I write it first and then put it on video. So make sure that what you're writing is engaging. But on the second layer, if you have video, make sure your video is also engaging. Make sure it's like a good camera. You can be shooting it on your mobile phone also. It doesn't matter, but make sure it's clear, there's lighting, it's crisp. And it doesn't have to be fancy lighting. It can be a ring light. Doesn't matter. For years,
engaging is critical do.
Yeah, engaging is critical do. For a visual medium, it has to be visually engaging as well.
Yeah.
Trailer shots, B-rolls, photos, things, pop-ups, things like that. And for a written medium, it has to be engaging to read. It doesn't necessarily have to be very simplistic. You are not talking to idiots. Don't look down upon your audience. Don't hold their hand to the extent of being like, by the end of this 500, 600 words, I'm going to tell you whether you should watch this film or not watch this film.
Right.
But at the end of 500 or 600 words, hopefully I would have added some perspective to your understanding of this film.
So make it more intellectual or analyze it more deeply?
Make it more like just richer. Just, add layers to someone's life. I'll help them contextualize the film in a different fashion.
Right.
No यार, I'm never saying कि ये फिल्म बड़ी खराब है ऐसे मत देखो. वो तुम्हारे ऊपर है. तुम डिसाइड करो तुम्हें देखनी है नहीं देखनी. तुम्हारे पैसे, मेरे को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. तुम जाके देखो, खर्च करो. I don't care. Do not care. Because I'm not talking to my children.
Right, fair enough.
I'm not telling my son or my daughter that you're not allowed to watch this film.
Yeah.
Do whatever the fuck you want to go watch. But the idea is to
make it more
give
rich.
A rich commentary.
Yeah, understood. So make it engaging, make it richer in terms of the layers that you add into the writing itself.
Yeah.
And what else in terms of a critical do?
Again, it comes back to my earlier point, be an aware individual.
Right.
Don't be an unaware person. Don't be out of touch with the world.
Yeah.
You cannot, writing is a very solo job. You don't write in groups.
Yeah.
It's not a writer's room where you're writing screenplays for TV shows. Writing a review is very, very isolating. You're sitting at home at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., being like, really searching your soul, finding something in, and then you're putting it out on paper. But as a human person, don't live in a silo where you are not looking at the world around you. You have to have a worldview. You have to be aware.
Yeah.
And it can be anything. You're aware about sports. You're aware about politics. You're aware about economics. You're aware about climate crises. A little bit, you need to know about things.
Yes, this awareness sort of informs your commentary.
On everything.
Yeah.
On the way you have relationships with humans.
Yeah.
Also, hai na? How can you be friends with somebody who doesn't quite understand the perils of voting one way or the other? These are conversations that you're having in your real life also. Na?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, वो सारी की सारी चीजें आपके उसमें personal is political.
Right.
ये सारी चीजें will come into your writing. And have an understanding of how films are made also.
Yeah.
You have to talk about framing.
Right.
You have to talk about lighting. You have to talk about shot design. If that is something that has moved you in a film.
Beautiful.
If you've really last weekend when I was still in New York, a movie theater in New York City was playing a 70mm version of Lawrence of Arabia. which is a freaking 4-hour long film, very, very old ancient film. But I've never seen it on the big screen because it came out before I was born.
Yeah.
And then I got to watch it on the big screen, and I was like, this lighting, the thing that I observed about the film from start to end, because I was watching it on a big screen. You can't experience the same thing on a laptop. On a big screen, you really see the lighting, the shot taking, the way this character moves away from the frame, the way the shadow falls on this character, the way the day goes, the match cuts between a matchstick and a sunset. It's incredible. So if that is something that has moved you, you bring that into your writing. But for that, you need to be aware what a match cut is. You need to know what a jump cut is. You need to know, if this light is coming from there, what is the director trying to say with this light? We need to think on those levels as well. And that comes more from watching more films. That comes more from reading about films. That comes more from, watching documentaries about filmmaking.
Right.
That teaches you a lot as well.
What would be some of the don'ts or things that you don't do?
I try to stay away from getting into like tick mark writing. I did say that you should talk about frames if it's moved you. You should talk about acting. You should talk about whatever, all the things that make a film. But don't be like, let's talk about the cinematography. And then be like, okay, what do I want to say about the cinematography?
Like checklists.
Checklist pe mat likho.
Understood.
That is very dull.
Right.
It's not interesting, and you're lying to yourself.
Okay.
And then don't try to pander to your audience. Don't always be... I really hate it when people call my video rants. This is not a rant. Don't become that person who is only making videos for the internet because you know that these are going to go viral. When you're writing a review, keep in mind that you're not writing it for the filmmaker. You're not writing it for the actors involved with the film. You're writing it for the audience that are watching you. If the filmmaker never reads your review, that's fine. You're not writing it for them.
Right. And is there anything else that comes to mind when you think about these don'ts as a category?
Just be ethical, Things like, don't take personal jibes.
Right.
And you learn this as you go along. Where to draw the line.
Epic.
Yeah.
There is a lot of work that is being influenced by AI.
Yeah.
In terms of the critiquing itself. How should I be using the tool? Number one, if there is any thought there. And what does this do to the industry itself, according to you?
Don't use it. Don't use ChatGPT to write reviews. Because movie reviews are individual, human experience. And that is the one thing that ChatGPT will not be able to provide you as human experience. ChatGPT can put grammatically sounding sentences together, but it's not doing justice to the art form.
Yeah, but as an art form, if you truly appreciate the nuances of film and appreciate writing about it in that context and being intellectually informed.
And what cinema means, what it means to the world, how it has evolved over the years, and what role it has played in our culture, evolution of culture, anthropologically looking at it.
Right.
Then तो फिर college भी मत जाओ, फिर तुम school भी मत जाओ, क्यों जा रहे हो? सब कुछ घर में सीखो.
It would completely defeat the
कोई
premise.
किताब मत पढ़ो, फिल्म भी क्यों देखनी है? ट्रेलर देखो, 10-12 कीवर्ड्स निकालो, ChatGPT में डाल दो, आ गया रिव्यू. नहीं कर सकते ना वो.
Right.
तो कुछ भी मत करो फिर. सब कुछ छोड़ दो AI पे करने के लिए.
So then
don't fall into that trap.
Let's say that we don't fall into the trap.
Yeah.
What does the future look like in the context of being?
But it looks scary to me right now.
Right.
I am not sure where this is going to head. Because I am not influencing anyone to stop using ChatGPT. That's not happening. It's being used more and more every day.
Like if I am the audience, I sometimes go and consume the content of an individual because I trust the individual. So when I trust the individual, I want to listen to their voice.
Yeah.
And I don't want their voice to be replaced by a tool.
Then you write it yourself. ChatGPT can tell you, review.
Yeah.
Why do you need me to tell you anything when you can tell that I have taken it from AI?
Right.
तुम खुद ही पूछ लो ChatGPT से, बताना जरा क्या रिव्यू चल रहे हैं आजकल मार्केट में. और ये फिल्म का कैसा, like what is this film all about?
Yeah.
Then you can just read that and be like, this doesn't sound interesting to me.
No, which actually brings me to the part of your own YouTube journey.
Yeah.
Which I'd love to double click on and learn more from.
Yeah.
There is a point of starting it and there is a point of success that it has reached at today.
Yeah.
I'd love to take that journey and find out a lot more about your YouTube play.
Daily thing, I've been running this channel and I'll tell you about the origins, but I've been running this for over 4 years now, and the biggest payout I've ever received from the channel happened this year in June.
Right.
So it took me 4 years to get to a point where I was like, I can pay my team and have money left over.
Wow.
From the channel.
Right. And this is from YouTube revenue.
YouTube revenue.
Right.
The biggest payout came this year. I started my channel in 2020 in the pandemic, as so many people, because there was nothing to do. I was sitting at home losing my mind, and मैं क्या करूँ? तो मुझे लगा कि मेरे को कितने सालों से मैं इसको डिली डाली कर रही हूँ कि यार अपना चैनल होना चाहिए, अपना चैनल होना चाहिए, अपना चैनल। मतलब मैं तब 4-5 सालों से डिली डाली कर रही थी। आज से कब कर लेते हैं भाई, अब तो क्या ही मौका रह गया है। So 2020 से करते करते then gradually film started to come out on streaming. And I was still with Film Companion at the time. And Film Companion was commissioning me some things, and they were not commissioning me other things. And because I was not a staff writer with Film Companion, so the other things that I wanted to talk about, I just spoke about them on my channel. Because I just wanted an outlet. I wanted to do something.
Yeah. And also a part of your, the parallel part of your journey, which is fascinating, is this entire journey of the VP of the Film Critic Guild in India.
Yeah, vice chairperson.
Yeah. Yeah. How does this play out? And I would love to understand what being a part of a fraternity or a system like that means.
Yeah.
And how did that even come about to be?
The Film Critics Guild is India's only registered body of film critics from across the country.
Right.
We have film critics who are members who are writing or presenting reviews in every language.
Right.
Various sorts of publications, not just print, but also video, also radio, whatever format there may be. This guild was organized about 7 years ago, I would say, where a bunch of us came together and, decided that let's form this. It was registered, it was organized, all of that stuff. I was a member since day one, and gradually we've organized Film Critics Guild Awards. Every year we give out awards. It's not a big event. It's not a fancy event. It's not a glamorous event. But people from the industry turn up because I feel like we've established this enough that we are the most credible awards that there are right now.
Right.
These awards are not for sale.
Yeah.
Right. You're not getting an award just because you're famous.
Yeah.
You're getting an award because your work was watched by all these film critics, and then so it's very stringent. We have an actual audit company that audits the votes that go into these awards.
Wow.
All of the curation is done very systematically. We have people who are monitoring every step. Very systematically, curations are done for these awards. I'm talking specifically.
Right.
And then the whole guild watches all the films and then votes on films and series and short films. Every single person in the guild votes on everything that finally gets the award in the end. Then those awards happen in March every year. Couple of months ago, there was, so every few years, the management committee changes and people are up for elections from within the guild. Anybody can stand for these elections within the guild. The first step of entry into the guild, there's a vetting process. You can submit yourself, you can go to our website, you can follow us on social media. It's the Film Critics Guild of India. You can go to our website and there's a form you can fill out if you feel like you want to be a member. Then there's a vetting. There's certain conditions, like you need to be active for a certain number of years and you need to show your samples, your work, and that is the process for applying to any critics guild across the world. There are many critics guilds across the world in whichever industry. तो उसको अप्लाई करने के लिए आपको हर जगह अपना लिंक्स दिखाने पड़ते हैं कि ये मेरा काम है, देखिए मुझे गिल्ड का मेंबर बनाए. Once that vetting process is done, you become a member. And then every few years, elections internally happen in which members can volunteer themselves for various positions. Chair, vice chair, treasurer, secretary, management committee, everything else. And then everyone votes. Every single member casts a vote. And this year, I became the vice chairperson.
Phenomenal. And it's so inspiring to see the number of possibilities that exist within this ecosystem, and which also makes me wonder about the fact that as Sucharita, what's next? What is the future looking like for you, and how you are thinking about carving out the upcoming decade or the next couple of years in this space? And have you wondered about what that could be and what the future
is? Like I have to grow my channel. I have to grow more and more. I have to go do more things on it that I want to do, whether it is talking to people who are making movies or talking about movies. I want to participate in as many film festivals as I can. I want to get involved with film festivals, like for instance with the Mami Film Festival that happens here. I've been involved in some smaller big waves for many years now because I know the people who run the festival. So this year I've been a mentor for the Young Critics Lab, among other film critics who mentored new people who wanted to become film critics. I'm also like moderating a couple of panels for them and things like that. So that is very exciting to me. That is very interesting to me, and I really like to get involved in doing things like that. So I want to do more of that, do more international film festivals, get involved in some way, shape or the other, and just keep talking about films. Like keep figuring out new and new ways to keep talking about film and not let things like slow down. Because it's very tempting to just be like, मुझे नहीं करना है.
Right.
रोज का झंझट. But मजा इतना आता है ना. I just love it.
I know what you mean. Wow. All right. This has been everything and more. I did not come signing up thinking that we are going to get a proper course on entry into this ecosystem. But no, I really do appreciate it, and thank you so much for being here and spending the time. And I hope that this was powerful and useful to everybody who's watching.
Yeah.
And thank you, Sucharita.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much to the crew here.
Thanks, gang.